Hi, I'm Jeff Sharon from UCF Sports Night. You can now watch UCF TV 24 hours a day on Bright House Digital Channel 1.
UCF TV's presentation of Central Florida's Medical City, Building a New Future, is brought to you by WFTV Eyewitness News.
I wake up every morning to Eyewitness News.
When we get up in the morning, first thing we do is turn on Daybreak to see what's going on.
I find out everything I need to know in the day in the first 10 minutes.
They focus on the breaking stories and what's going to impact my day.
I like watching Vanessa
and Greg.
I get the weather fast.
And I watch it for traffic. We count on these guys every single morning.
Every morning I turn on Daybreak and it gets me going.
Coverage you can count on. This is an Eyewitness News special presentation. Central Florida's Medical City, Building a New Future. Brought to you by Orlando Health, Florida Hospital, and Florida's Blood Centers.
Imagine an Orlando where people come not just to see Mickey Mouse, but to be cured of incurable diseases, where medical miracles are performed every day.
Everyone will think of Orlando when they're thinking about medical research.
Where the finest doctors are trained.
I really want to build the best medical school in the world.
Where scientists discover the keys to longer, healthier lives. Imagine a world where Central Florida is known as a mecca of medical excellence.
I think it's one of the biggest things that's ever happened in Central Florida.
Hello, I'm Barbara West. Welcome to Central Florida's Medical City, Building a New Future. This is not a pipe dream. It's already happening. Construction has begun. And some people say it could change Central Florida the way Disney did 30 years ago. Over the next hour, we're going to show you how this vision of our key leaders is already taking shape. You'll see changes occurring right before your eyes. We'll take you inside and behind the scenes to show you the people, the places, and the planning that in the next 10 to 20 years has the potential to transform Orlando from a service-based tourist destination to a world capital of biotechnology and excellence in healthcare. It's all happening on a 7,000-acre piece of land at Lake Nona in southeast Orlando. It is right next to Orlando International Airport, and the 417 runs right through it. We want to show you where this exciting new medical city is growing, so we're going to take you up in Sky Witness for a bird's eye view. Rasesh Thacker is one of the driving forces behind the upscale community. His company, the Tavistock Group, donated about $75 million in cash and land for the new medical city, making it the largest private contributor to the project.
Governor Bush has said that the research institutes coming to Florida is as important as the invention of air conditioning and Disney coming here for the state.
In about 3 minutes by chopper from downtown Orlando, we are hovering right over the 600-acre site that will become home to the new Burnham Institute for Medical Research.
At about 2 o'clock is the new UCF Burnett School of Biomedical Sciences. But if you look behind you about 5 o'clock, you see the downtown skyline, so 25 minutes away from there.
This will also be the site for the new medical school, for a University of Florida Research Center, the Orlando VA Center, Nemours Children's Hospital, and MD Anderson's Cancer Research Institute. About $1.25 billion worth of construction is underway, with a lot more on the books right now.
With the airport, downtown, the UCF's main campus, and Medical City, you get a pretty interesting circumference.
Posh neighborhoods and award-winning schools are key to attracting the highly paid professionals who'll be living and working here. The Life Sciences Cluster will be a place where scientists, doctors, and educators can meet, think, dream, and collaborate on medical breakthroughs that improve our lives and strengthen our economy. The whole notion of the medical city began when former Governor Jeb Bush and our local leaders tried to get the Scripps Research Institute to move from California to Central Florida. That effort ended in what appeared to be a crushing loss, but it turned out to be an important lesson learned.
I think that was actually a blessing in disguise for two reasons. One, we learned a lot about the negotiation process with Scripps, and I think the Burnham Institute is a better fit for our community.
In the process, local and state leaders learned without a medical school and top scientists in Central Florida, it would be impossible to attract research companies.
Scientists need to be around other scientists to carry their thinking forward and to have the eureka moments.
The president of the University of Central Florida commissioned Donna Ardwin, former budget director for both Governor Jeb Bush and California's Arnold Schwarzenegger, to do a study on the economic impact of bringing a medical school to Central Florida.
In 2005, we predicted that a College of Medicine in Medical City would produce about 6,000 jobs over 10 years and have an economic impact of about $1 billion to the economy.
She points out Orlando is already a world-class destination, has the third largest airport in the nation, two of the biggest and busiest hospital systems in the country, the sixth largest university in the U.S., and we're home to about 150 high-tech simulation businesses which largely cater to the military. A medical school could capitalize on all that and be a magnet to attract other new high-tech health science ventures.
If we were successful in that and it really grew to its potential, that would add another $5 billion a year in economic impact. So a total economic impact of $6.4 billion annually.
Orlando and Orange County's mayors teamed up with President Hitt and local hospital and business leaders to convince the state to kick in $200 million to the project. By 2006, the city, county, local hospitals, businesses, and individuals had added another $52 million.
And I think that this is truly the golden age of collaboration and partnership in the Central Florida region. But
I believe this is one of the best stories of Orlando's community togetherness that will be written in the history of this city and this region. There was no one that was not fully engaged in this community. Everybody was all hands on deck.
Without the University of Central Florida Medical School, Central Florida's medical city might still be a dream. Next, you'll meet the dynamic woman who started building the school from the ground up, long before the first shovel of dirt was turned.
She's a great American.
How Dr. Deborah German's innovative thinking has already made UCF one of the most sought-after medical schools in the country. The new dean of the UCF Med School wants all of her future doctors to first learn this lesson. Your patients won't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And those who know Dr. Deborah German can see it's a lesson she lives every day. When UCF President Dr. John Hitt started his search for the new dean for the medical school, he knew he had to find just the right person. Once he met Dr. Deborah German, he knew he didn't have to look any further.
Deb had the personality, the energy, the optimistic outlook that would help her win over the community.
She's also a giant in terms of vision, ability, and enthusiasm. And she's had a big job to get done.
I really want to build the best medical school in the world, and I realize that that sounds very arrogant. But my view is if you don't start off with that as your vision, you're going to fall short.
She helped design the new med school building at Lake Nona to make sure it would fit the growing needs of her innovative program. And she oversaw the renovation of an existing building, turning it into the interim school where the first students will begin classes in August 2009.
We're just getting set up.
To attract some of the best and brightest, she came up with the idea of offering full four-year scholarships to every one of the 40 med students who will be in the first class.
It's unprecedented. No one else has ever done that. And she went out and sold it.
When those students begin training at UCF, their curriculum will include all of the core sciences, yet they'll be taught in a way unlike any other med school in the world. The unique approach won the quick approval of the group that accredits medical schools.
They said when we fully implemented, we would be a national model.
Dr. German always wanted to be a teacher or a doctor, and now she's both. She earned a degree in chemistry, then landed a full scholarship at Harvard Medical School. As a rheumatologist, she treated patients for arthritis and other causes of chronic aches and pains. She's bringing that deep, broad background to UCF, where she wants to create a learning environment like no other.
We need to have the best program, but we also need to have the best people, not just faculty, but students, because they're part of it.
She's grateful to the community for the support she's received in bringing her vision to reality.
It's not just anybody that people will do that for.
I don't think they're doing it for me. I think they're doing it for all of us, really. You know, I mean, I'm lucky to be sitting in this chair is how I see it. I really am.
Local leaders feel we are the lucky ones. They've already recognized Dr. German for her accomplishments. The Orlando Business Journal named her the 2008 Businesswoman of the Year, noting among other things her hard work to drum up scholarships for students. Over their 4 years of education, each of the first 40 med students will receive a total of $160,000 for tuition and living expenses. Those scholarships were funded by $7 million in community donations. That's a first, anytime, anywhere. According to the American Association of Colleges, UCF is the only medical school ever to provide full 4-year scholarships to an entire class. Dr. German and her staff have quite a job ahead in choosing which students will make up that first class. Almost 3,200 have applied so far, making UCF one of the most competitive medical schools in the country. That means it's going to take much more than good grades to make the cut.
We're looking for students with passion, students who want to make a difference, and students who are not afraid to take risks that will enable them to make that difference.
40,000 students a year apply for admission to the 129 medical schools in the U.S. It's an academic high-stakes competition, and both Catherine Furstadt and Joe Snavely hope they will be among the winners. They both want more than anything else to be chosen as cream of the crop to join UCF's first med school class.
I've just met so many amazing doctors and physicians in this area, and I've seen how healthcare here is possibly about to just really blossom with the new medical city of Lake Nona.
Local hospitals are banking on UCF to produce the best and brightest young doctors who will want to practice here to treat Central Florida's growing population. Applying to any medical school is a complicated process. There are the applications, the transcripts, the essays, the questionnaires, and all those recommendations to gather. It takes hours and hours, and each application must be letter perfect. Joe has applied to a number of medical schools, but thinks UCF is the one for him.
I just really have confidence that UCF is really just going to be a great school.
Catherine likes it so much, she's taking a calculated risk, applying only to UCF, hoping for early acceptance.
I love UCF. I know the faculty. I started talking to people involved with the curriculum of the new medical school.
They bring more than great grades to the table. Both have volunteered at local hospitals, working with doctors and patients to learn and confirm their own interest in medicine.
I like surgery a lot, but I haven't decided 100% yet.
UCF is looking for smart students with well-rounded yet diverse backgrounds. Joe grew up in Central Florida and attended a private Christian school before UCF. Catherine moved here from Venezuela 5 years ago, and it's here where she wants to stay. Although they both say the scholarships offered by UCF are not their only draw, they admit the thought of graduating debt-free is enticing.
It's a big relief. It takes so much pressure off your shoulders.
I think the scholarships really take off the pressure of graduating med school with debt, as well as attracting the best possible candidates.
If I were on the admissions board, I'd have a hard time turning either of those students down. But when I talked to Dr. German herself, she said they are typical of the high quality of students applying for those first 40 slots. When these students begin classes, they will get an education unlike any other in the country. Training doctors for the 21st century when we return.
This is my UCF.
This is it, the heart of the new medical city. I'm on the rooftop of the Burnham School of Biomedical Sciences, and right over here, the UCF Med School is coming out of the ground.
The new medical school at Lake Nona won't be finished by the time classes begin next August. Instead, the first 40 students will begin their studies at the recently renovated University Tower at Research Park, right next to the UCF campus. This is where the students will attend classes. But what will make their traditional education really unique will be the high-tech approach to teaching.
Our medical school is prepared to take a budding Mother Teresa, Surgeon General, and Nobel Prize winner and help them move toward their dream.
To train their future doctors to be the best in the 21st century, Dr. German and the UCF professors have some very unique ideas. For example, you know me as this Barbara West, but here's my cyber self. I'm now a computer-generated avatar. Beginning in August, I could be the personal patient of one of the new med students. My avatar will be born as that student begins the first year of school. She will have the usual childhood diseases and go through puberty-driven problems of being a teenager. She'll grow up, have kids, grow older, and face the increasing health problems that come with age. Then, eventually, she will die. All in the span of that medical student's 4 years at UCF. Dr. David Siegel is the brains behind the avatars. He's an assistant professor, an expert in medical education, computer programming, and game development.
I can change the character's appearance. I can change their language. There's 13 languages. I can make them cough and giggle and other types of expressions.
He's also designing methods to evaluate how well each student diagnoses and treats his avatar. Here's a real assignment the medical students will get. Don't adjust your TV. Your screen is dark because the student is getting an emergency call from his avatar in the middle of the night.
Hello, this is Dr. Wright.
Hello, Dr. Wright. This is Adam Hicks. I'm sorry to bother you so late at night, but I haven't felt well all night.
That exercise will be recorded, reviewed, and evaluated, giving the student the chance to do better during the next surprise call from his avatar.
There's a lot of research being done to not just implement new technologies, but show that they actually work.
Right next to UCF is the Army's Simulation and Training Technology Center. Here, a physician consults with simulation experts to create a cyber world hospital.
But what about that medicinal smell that's in a doctor's office?
This looks, feels, and can even smell like a real hospital emergency room. Right now, I'm a computer-driven avatar inside this virtual environment. The goal is to help the UCF medical students fine-tune their skills in a cyber setting, so they'll be better doctors when the patients and emergencies are real. Dr. Rebecca Maroos guides the computer animation experts through the real world of medicine.
We sit and we actually analyze these programs that have been developed, and we say, no, that's not the way a patient comes in to a doctor's office, or that's not the appropriate response for a doctor to make.
This collaboration of technical, military, and medical experts is key to making the UCF Medical School unlike any other.
Medic, we got a casualty over here!
This computerized mannequin can hemorrhage, have seizures, a heart attack, suffer amputations, and a myriad of other devastating problems. It was designed to teach military medics to treat wounded soldiers in the battlefield. Soon, med students will use it to practice on.
So when the mannequin crashes and he needs help right away, the students will have to intervene. They'll have to save him. They'll have to apply their skills.
No other medical schools have access to this kind of technology, but it won't surprise anyone if they all clamor to copy the model set by UCF. Later on, we'll show you what it'll be like when the med students go into local hospitals for their final years of training. But up next, the other big player that laid the groundwork for Central Florida's new medical city. We'll go inside the Burnham Research Institute to see the remarkable discoveries they're working on there.
Burnham is the pivotal change point for us to become a credible research, health and life science research market.
The Burnham Institute for Medical Research opens its doors in mid-2009 at Lake Nona. It, along with UCF's College of Medicine, will be a cornerstone of a new life sciences cluster that is expected to generate billions of dollars for the local economy. Local leaders believe landing the Burnham Institute was essential to building Central Florida's health sciences-based economy. Government and business leaders offered the nonprofit institute the biggest incentive package in Central Florida's history, including more than $310 million in cash, land, and various perks.
We did have to negotiate with both the Burnham and the developer to put that entire package together.
According to Burnham's new science director, that team effort, the entire community pulling together, was exactly what attracted him to come here too. Dr. Dan Kelly could have picked any university, hospital, or research institute to hang his lab coat. As both a cardiologist and researcher, he's renowned for his work on the deadly effects of diabetes on the heart. In fact, he's published more than 100 papers on the subject. Dr. Kelly will oversee the research here. He'll also be a professor at UCF, and he wants to work with all the local hospitals to translate basic bench research into clinical trials. All that while at the same time overseeing the construction of Burnham's research facility at Lake Nona.
This building is scheduled to be complete in the spring of next year. It's here, inside the Burnham Institute, that we're hoping their scientists will find medical breakthroughs that will improve our lives.
But that work has already begun at Burnham's temporary headquarters on the 4th floor of Florida's Blood Centers in Orlando. Dr. Kelly is scouring the world to find the best scientists to delve into new treatments for diabetes and obesity.
We look for the best and the brightest. An example is here Christoph Zechner, who came from Germany.
Having the Burnham Institute here does 3 things. It will bring in higher-paying jobs, help spawn new businesses to support all the research, and its scientists are already attracting millions of federal research dollars into the region, too. Recently, the National Institutes of Health awarded Burnham an almost unprecedented $97 million to rapidly screen for new types of drugs that heal with no toxic side effects.
They will be better drugs because they will hopefully home in, and as we call probes, and will go to the diseased area, but not to the healthy part of your body, which is what leads to side effects.
With its large-scale research, creative, challenging thinking, and highly paid professional workforce, local leaders are hoping Burnham's impact will elevate us all.
Governor Bush has described it as Burnham. He said, and this is a quote, "Burnham will be a godsend for Orlando and Central Florida."
That's strong language, but he may be right.
Coming up next, how do basic discoveries made in the lab right here translate into treatments that can save people's lives? We'll show you how Burnham scientists are working with a local hospital to find medical breakthroughs. $16 million people in this country live with diabetes. It is such a serious problem. The Burnham Research Institute and Florida Hospital are forming a clinical research institute to take prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of diabetes and obesity to a whole new level.
Florida Hospital's Center for Diabetes is the busiest in the country. That's one big reason the Burnham Institute wants to team up with doctors there to find better ways to prevent and treat diabetes.
We are witnessing, as you know, what we call now an epidemic of gigantic proportions related to obesity that drives type 2, or the adult form of diabetes.
They want to know how diabetes leads to serious, often deadly heart problems.
Is that it is not only a problem with sugar, as people think about with diabetes, it's really a problem with fat, and that the fat in the body continues to increase and can't completely be stored in fat tissue and causes problems in the heart.
Dr. Kelly shows us how fat accumulates in the body, invading vital organs, clogging them, and making it impossible for them to function normally. Among other strategies, he's looking for ways to melt that fat away, including a drug that will be like exercise in a pill. At the young age of 44, Jose Martinez needs a new heart. His own is failing fast due to congestive heart failure caused by obesity and out-of-control diabetes.
My cardiologist had told me just go home and get everything settled, you know. You could die any minute. That was scary.
That steady march into heart failure happened relatively fast. He'd been diagnosed with diabetes a little more than 10 years ago.
I was doing totally the opposite of what I should be doing.
Jose, how have you been doing since your last visit?
Dr. Ramon Urdaneta sees the devastating toll diabetes takes on his patients.
2 out of 4 people, adults with type 2 diabetes, will develop a heart disease or stroke. 80% of diabetics who are admitted to the hospital are admitted because of a complication of heart disease.
He's excited about working with Burnham scientists to bring their findings to patients like Jose.
I'll be very proud to be a part of it.
Although drugs have been keeping him alive, Jose feels his days are numbered unless his doctor and Burnham researchers find something new.
A cure would be great.
That joint diabetes research is just one thing that can quickly put Central Florida on the map for people who want to travel here to find the best treatments for what ails them. For 10 years in a row, Florida Hospital has been ranked among the best hospitals in the country.
And we're seeing more and more people coming to us to say, we need to come for your expertise from all over the United States, and our global reach is really becoming phenomenal.
Bringing the best doctors to Central Florida has already paid off for Florida Hospital in another area. Patients from all over the globe come to Orlando to have Dr. Vip Patel do their prostate cancer surgery. He is considered one of the finest experts at using the minimally invasive robotic techniques. Dr. Patel's Global Robotics Institute and the cutting-edge research that Florida Hospital will be doing in concert with the Burnham Institute are just 2 examples of how Central Florida will be a magnet for what leaders call medical tourism. Coming up next, how another of our local hospitals, Orlando Health, will play a key role in Central Florida's new medical city and in training med students. Orlando Health has 8 hospitals in Central Florida and will play an integral role in the medical city in helping train UCF medical students. It'll also play a key role in research at the new medical city.
Well, we've had a lot of exciting things underway at Orlando Health the past really 5, 6, 7 years.
The huge hospital complex has changed the skyline of the south end of downtown Orlando. There's Arnold Palmer Hospital for children, Winnie Palmer Hospital for women and babies, ORMC with its Level 1 trauma unit, and one of the biggest names in cancer care, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Orlando. Dr. Clarence Brown helped bring the cancer titan to Orlando 17 years ago. More than 50 physicians are treating about 5,000 new cancer patients who walk through these doors this year alone.
We're probably the 2nd largest cancer center in the state of Florida now.
MD Anderson is known for its cutting-edge research. About 4 years ago, it created its own Cancer Research Institute in Orlando. doctors work with scientists to grow human cancer cells in mice. Then they determine which treatments are best for specific types of cancer and even for specific patients. And they are entering a new realm of research using submicroscopic particles.
We've been doing some exciting work with nanoparticles, working with our colleagues at the University of Central Florida.
They've learned nanoparticles can help protect the body from the damaging effects of radiation, making it possible to completely radiate a patient's whole body to kill all cancer cells without damaging healthy tissue. Their findings may even help prevent some types of cancer. Currently, the Cancer Research Institute is near the hospital complex in downtown Orlando, but its new expanded site will be on the top floor of the new Burnett School of Biomedical Sciences at Lake Nona.
Because the scientists love to be in the same area, working alongside of each other, sharing materials, sharing equipment, and this is the logical thing that will happen once we're out there.
There's another way our local hospitals will play a very key role in the future of the UCF Med School. It's in the halls of these hospitals where med students and new residents get their training.
When you graduate from medical school, you are very knowledgeable and ready to take care of nobody. Okay?
But you're a doctor.
You're a doctor, but you can't take care of anybody.
To really care for patients, med school graduates have to do 3 years minimum graduate medical education called a residency.
She's a 51-year-old white female with a positive history of kidney stones.
Having become a teaching hospital way back in 1926, there's no question Orlando Regional Medical Center is the granddaddy of med student and resident training in Central Florida.
Is that consistent with the kidney stone?
Today we tag along with Jay Falk, the doctor who's in charge of med students and resident education at ORMC. He's taking Florida State University students on the rounds in the ER.
It's the best part of my career, is training young physicians.
Having the med school and the residency programs here at local hospitals helps us find, teach, and train the best physicians, doctors who we hope will want to stay and practice here. There's also something in it for the patients. Not only do you get more attention from a whole lot of doctors, but the level of attention is greater too.
You're not just taking care of a patient, but you're training the next generation who's curious and has new ideas.
At Orlando Health, the 3rd and 4th year medical students and residents will get training in a vast variety of specialties. For example, Winnie Palmer Hospital has one of the largest neonatal units in the country.
We did over 14,000 deliveries in that hospital, which we believe is one of the top 5 or 6 in the United States in one facility.
ORMC has the 2nd largest level 1 trauma unit in the state. And the ER is so busy at the Dr. Phillips Hospital in Southwest Orlando, it has to double in size.
Another very long-awaited player in Central Florida's medical city will be the brand new VA Medical Center. Some people who have given everything they have to their country have been waiting a very long time for this. Nearly 500,000 veterans live here in Central Florida. We have one of the largest veterans populations in all the country, not served by a full-fledged hospital devoted to them. They've had to come to this clinic here in Orlando to get their care, and yet the sickest, the ones in the most intense need of care, had to go all the way to Tampa to get it. But in 2012, that will all change when the new VA Medical Center opens at Lake Nona. With a price tag of more than $600 million, it will be the finest of any VA hospital in the world.
David Monteith grew up in Florida, but he wanted to see the world. So in 1981, he enlisted in the Navy and set sail on the aircraft carrier, the John F. Kennedy.
It was an adrenaline rush. Real adrenaline rush.
12 years after he got out of the service at the age of 36, he was diving off a boat dock in Tampa Bay. It was the 4th of July.
I hit water And that's all I really remembered. The doctors didn't think I was going to live that long to even make it to the hospital.
He crushed his C4 and C5 vertebrae. He had blood transfusions, bone fusions from his hip bone to his neck. He even had laser surgery for the chronic sinus infections he suffered after the accident. None of it service-related, but all of it covered by the VA. David has been living here for 4 years at the VA Living Center on the property in Orlando that once belonged to the old Naval Training Center. He's really quite content here, but 79-year-old Ruth Wrigley is not. She was in the Air Force from 1952 to 1956, part of a crew that flew wounded vets back from the battlefields of Korea.
I failed twice in the Air Force and hurt my back.
She's had to have 2 hip replacement surgeries. For her first, she had to go all the way to Tampa, which was a real strain.
We did the ultrasound of your lower extremities. Those showed up to be normal, too.
Veterans who only need to see a doctor come here to the VA clinic near Baldwin Park. It's certainly not shiny and new, but Dr. Brian Fenister raves about the VA's sophisticated computerized patient record keeping.
Any way you want to do the data, you can do it, from anywhere they've had it in the country.
And his patient is surprisingly content with this old place, too. The location at Lake Nona will include a 1 million square foot hospital campus built on 65 acres of land. It will include a 134-bed hospital, a 120-bed nursing home, and a 60-bed assisted living transitional facility for veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, alcoholism, or homelessness.
VA hospitals are one-stop shopping.
It will come just in time when the number of veterans seeking health care here more than doubles by 2015. The new VA complex will employ up to 2,000 people.
On 9/11, they finalized and closed the contract on the land for the VA new hospital for Central Florida. A pretty exciting day for veterans, and we have more than $200 million in the bank for the project, so it will be built.
No one is more anxious than Ruth to see the new hospital open its doors. You think having a new hospital here is about time?
It's past time.
With so many young people returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, having the best VA facilities anywhere in the world right here will be a comfort to us all.
The VA won't be the only hospital in the medical city. Next, one of the finest names in children's health care is ready to build a whole new facility.
This 60-acre piece of land at Lake Nona will be transformed into this, the new Nemours Children's Hospital and Pediatric Campus. Nemours will break ground on the project next year. Even though Nemours has been serving the needs of children in Central Florida for years, building a huge hospital here was no slam dunk. It faced opposition from other hospitals in the area who were concerned about the competition and was turned down by the state twice before getting approval.
It was a long, hard battle, but finally Nemours won the right to build its new hospital and clinic complex at Lake Nona.
We had to fight a lot, but I believe what we've come together is a common understanding what we'll do differently and more than what they'll do, particularly in the education research side.
Nemours is one of the nation's leading healthcare systems. Unlike other hospitals, it's endowed by a huge foundation with resources that go beyond what other hospitals normally can afford to do. Nemours offers traditional health care, but it's known for its ongoing rehabilitation programs and behavioral health. Here at the clinic in downtown Orlando, Dr. Lloyd Work is helping kids who are suffering from obesity.
So the last time you were here, we talked about cutting back on some of that fast food.
11-year-old Jasmine Gillian says her classmates sometimes tease her, but trouble sleeping, due in large part to her weight, is one of the reasons she's here.
When I used to snore, I would lie like sitting up with all the pillows behind my head. But now I just sleep with one pillow and I sleep better than ever.
Yeah, now that you've lost some weight.
100% of my patients have some other health condition, probably related to their being overweight.
Dr. Work and other physicians at Nemours Healthy Choices Clinic are backed up by a team of nurses, dietitians, and behavioral counselors. Together, they treat,
and they're still vegetables, they're good.
Teach.
So we've talked a lot about the different kinds of foods, right?
And negotiate new goals with the kids.
Would there be any time before dinner to maybe go biking again?
They try to make learning better eating habits and learning to be more active fun.
It's like a family. What I feel like is Nemours has, you come in here and it's like a home away from home.
Drew Davis practically lived at Nemours for the last 18 years. He was born with several birth defects and a condition where his lower face wouldn't grow properly. He needed 46 surgeries and therapy to fix all of that. But that was before Nemours had one main central location, as it will with this new complex. The new location will bring physician researchers like Dr. David Geller closer to even more patients. In his small lab currently in Orlando, he's testing new designs for inhalers to deliver new drugs to help cystic fibrosis patients breathe better.
Medicine goes in there. Do you remember all this?
His research is helping teenager Jeremy Abbott lead a more normal life. Dr. Geller's work has given him the freedom to be as active as he wants to be. On average, patients like Jeremy don't live to even enjoy middle age. Someday, Nemours doctors may find a cure.
Of course, being close to Burnham and the new medical school at Lake Nona, Nemours doctors look forward to extending their research capabilities and their community outreach even more. Up next, you'll meet two UCF professors who some might call future rock stars in the world of science. We'll take you inside their labs where they are working every day on cures for some of the world's worst diseases. What makes for a Nobel Prize winner? When it comes to medicine, it's someone who's done something remarkable, like Madame Curie, who was a pioneer in discovering radioactivity. To be counted among the very few who have achieved such status is a career achievement beyond compare. For two professors at UCF, who knows? That sort of recognition could someday come. But what they do every day, they do not for honors, but for the love of research and the desire to find cures to help mankind.
These lettuce plants all produce the anthrax vaccine.
Dr. Henry Daniel is a man who can't think small. He's not content to find a cure or vaccine for any one disease. He's working on several all at once.
7 of the top 10 vaccines that are needed in the world, including malaria and cholera.
He's tackling the worst scourges to all mankind, growing his cures and treatments here in a greenhouse and in this laboratory at UCF.
This is a room where all of these vaccines and therapeutic proteins are created.
After the anthrax scares of 2001, Dr. Daniel began searching for a safe and inexpensive vaccine. He started by injecting the anthrax gene into tobacco leaves. The genetically engineered plants were then grown in his greenhouse, dried, pulverized, put into a new vaccine, and injected into lab mice. Then the mice were exposed to doses of anthrax several times stronger than would kill any human. They all survived. Dr. Daniel says he can grow enough vaccine to inoculate everyone in the United States.
One greenhouse full of tobacco is enough to make 300 million vaccines, anthrax vaccines.
He may be on the verge of yet another breakthrough, curing diabetes. When his genetically engineered lettuce leaves were fed to diabetic mice for several weeks, it completely and permanently reversed their diabetes.
We want to have neurons, but in this case, we don't get it.
Just down the hall, in another lab at UCF, neuroscientist Dr. Kemobu Sugaya is working with adult stem cells to cure Alzheimer's.
I want to have a cure, not just a treatment.
For the 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's, his discoveries are coming none too soon. Working with researchers in Sweden and the NIH, he's found a way to regenerate the Alzheimer's brain. It's a technique that involves transplanting adult stem cells into the brain, along with a recently discovered compound called fencerine. The fencerine dissolves plaque that clogs the Alzheimer's brain. Once that's gone, the stem cells can grow into active neurons. So the plaque prevents these stem cells from being good functional stem cells in the brain.
Exactly, yes.
So the idea is, got to get rid of that plaque. This video from Dr. Sugaya's lab shows an Alzheimer's mouse swimming in nearly a straight line to a platform in a tub of water. Before it was treated with a combination therapy, it couldn't find its way to that platform. Dr. Sugaya is in talks with Florida Hospital to start a stem cell center of excellence.
What we bring is we bring the clinical knowledge, we bring a vast number of patients, and he brings world-class knowledge in stem cells. So together, Florida Hospital, UCF, Kimi Sugaya, hopefully are going to make a major contribution.
Dr. Sugaya has also come up with a special compound of his own that boosts adult stem cells by 600%. He says someday adult stem cells may not only cure what ails us, they could turn out to be the closest thing we know to the fountain of youth. Despite all this great potential, the economy is weak. With federal and state and local governments slashing their budgets, how will tight financial times affect the new medical city's future? We'll talk to local leaders next.
An innovative anthrax vaccine, promising research on cancer, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and advanced laser developments. In their search for new answers and better solutions, UCF professors are awarded millions of dollars in research funding each year. Needless to say, we're all quite proud of them. UCF stands for opportunity.
The future is bright for Central Florida's medical city, but it does face some obstacles, especially in this tough economy when governments are slashing budgets. The state has already cut 30% of the medical school's budget, or about $5 million. Dr. German is working with the school's partners to try to recoup some of that money. Government and business leaders promised $310 million in incentives to the Burnham Institute. And the federal government promised hundreds of millions more for the VA hospital. Local leaders don't seem worried, however. They say this project is too important and too far along not to get the funding it needs.
It's one of the challenges, and I think it's a good challenge for us. We'll make new friends, and it'll give us the opportunity to build stronger relationships with our community.
At the end of the day, I know that it's tough economically. I know that budgets are tough in Tallahassee and at the local level, but we've made our commitment, and I can't even imagine that the state ultimately would retreat from that. It's just too important.
You've seen the hopes and dreams for Central Florida's medical city. So where do we go from here?
If you were to put it in Space Coast terms, we are certainly past launch. We are in orbit, and I think we're positioned to go to the moon.
Next, what the people who first had the vision for the enormous project see in their crystal ball.
Attendance, people, listen up. Albertson. Here. Barnes. Here. Swain.
Here.
Reyes. Here. Perez.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Gerbic.
Here.
Sellers. Here. Nguyen.
Here.
Tomei.
Here.
And Miller. Here.
In our classrooms and throughout our community, UCF stands for opportunity.
Over the last hour, you've heard about the progress and the hope for this extraordinary, massive project. Now, where do we grow from here? We asked the people who first had the vision for a medical city what they expect to see happening here in the next decade.
I just see a vibrant area of our region that is known internationally for the research. I see people wanting to come to Orlando, not just to visit Disney, but to be part of the medical city.
Hopefully we will have become a destination for students who want the very best training, for faculty who want to be in one of the most innovative up-and-coming medical schools in the country. And our medical city will be thriving.
I see advanced healthcare and medical technology being provided in this community beyond what you would see where there is no research.
In 10 years, I see people looking back on this moment and saying that we really seized the moment. We took and celebrated the industry that has made us internationally famous, which is tourism, and said that's not enough to sustain this great community, and we needed to diversify into other areas. We've identified those areas, life sciences and the medical city is part of that, and that we made the right call at the right time.
We'll be here to witness the transformation of Orlando, and you can count on Eyewitness News to follow the progress of this burgeoning new medical city for years to come. We hope you've enjoyed this look inside our exciting future. I'm Barbara West. Thanks for watching.
This Eyewitness News special presentation, Central Florida's Medical City, Building a New Future, was brought to you by Orlando Health, Florida Hospital, and Florida's Blood Centers.
I wake up every morning to Eyewitness News.
When we get up in the morning, first thing we do is turn on Daybreak to see what's going on.
I find out everything I need to know in the day in the first 10 minutes.
They focus on the breaking stories and what's going to impact my day.
I like watching Vanessa and Greg.
I get the weather fast.
And I'm watching for traffic. We count on these guys every single morning.
Every morning I turn on Daybreak and it gets me going.
Coverage you can count on.
UCF TV's presentation of Central Florida's Medical City, Building a New Future, has been brought to you by WFTV Eyewitness News.
It wouldn't be of interest to me to just build another medical school, but the opportunity to build this century's premier medical school and to take what we've learned from all of the very best medical schools around the country and try to build it better than it's ever been done before. Now that's a challenge I can wrap myself around.
We've got an opportunity to build a center of medical science and practice at Lake Nona, a medical city from the ground up. With the Burnham Institute located immediately adjacent to us, with a very large VA hospital there, the Nemours Foundation's Children's Hospital, and these other organizations around our medical school will enable us to really fulfill our lofty dreams.
You know, UCF aspires to be one of the best universities in the nation. I think what will separate the universities in the future is going to be the research and what that generates for a university.
See, the best indicator of the quality of science is getting competitive grants. And all our faculty members have been successful in getting multiple grants. So they are competing with the very best in the nation.
Nationally, we're among the best at simulation. We have an optics and photonics college that is ranked in the very top. We have a hospitality college. We have programs like that. And if we build the medical components onto the existing strengths of our university, we'll have the chance to excel beyond what you would expect for an emerging medical school.
And I'm convinced that this medical school is going to take what is already excellent medical care here in Central Florida and take it to a new level.
Here at Florida Hospital, we've created the Global Robotics Institute, and that is a unique institute for robotic surgery. We're very much looking forward to the partnership with the UCF medical students and Florida Hospital. We'll be able to deliver them the ultimate in teaching in minimally invasive surgery and they'll always be at the cutting edge of technology.
When you have a leading edge medical school located in the heart of a medical city, how can you not raise the level of education and healthcare delivered to the community and the region around it?
And it's really about the community, it's about the patients, it's about building something that's better.
We're talking about a project here that can contribute 26,000 or more great jobs for Central Floridians. We will have an economic impact that will be unlike anything we've seen since Disney came to town. We're going to produce badly needed physicians. There's a physician shortage today, and it's going to get much worse in years ahead, so we're going to do our part in addressing that great need for Central Florida.
I hope that it will be a class of extremely diverse students from many different walks of life, and I hope that they will all share one thing in common: a pioneering spirit and a hunger to learn, and a commitment and dedication to medicine and to their fellow man.
Top-tier universities need a medical school. UCF deserves a medical school.
We're going to enrich the medical community and its opportunities in ways we can hardly imagine.
Orlando, over the next 5 to 10 years, will become one of the centers for excellence in healthcare.
Standing here in the building, we can see the future. The future is real, it's here, and it's now.